Welcome to Pink Kink,
where we talk about the pretty, twisted side of kink.
I'm Princess Rara.
And I'm Dara, the Electro Khaleesi.
Whether you are a new kinkster or have years of experience, Pink Kink will help you level up your kink knowledge.
Join us on this journey as we talk about our personal experiences and use the knowledge we've gained over 28 years of being involved in both private and professional aspects of this lifestyle to help you explore every facet of kink.
Get set for an adventure. Not only will you learn and grow, but we promise loads of laughter, turning each episode into a fun party. So fasten your seatbelt and let's get this show started. Pink Kink runs off the generosity of our devoted patrons.
As a patron, you will become a member of our special Discord server, receive some adorable Pink Kink stickers, as well as have access to a monthly behind-the-scenes podcast. Patrons also get discounts at our Etsy shop, Pink Kink Boutique, and our online classes at Pink Kink Institute.
In addition, our impactful and electrifying Pink Kinksters get special audio and video episodes. And finally, patrons at our highest tier will be recognized as producers, both here on the podcast and on our website.
If you would like to become a patron, you can visit us at patreon.com/pinkkinkpodcast or click the link at pinkkinkpodcast.com.
Today's episode is produced by our electrifying Pink Kinksters. Thank you, Jay Witcherman, Brianna Lynn, Daddy J, Fabe, Embers, William P, Claire, Lady Blooding, Naughty and Nice, Butte Pain, Manda Panda, Kat, Stefan, Shadow Phoenix, Brian, Make Cry Devil, Ruby Riot, Mistress Velma, Enchanted Sparrow, The Wombat, Impact Hazard, Twitch, The Midnight Girl, Sinful, J21, Daisy If You Do, AK Harley Chick, Violet Rain, Serenity, Belle, Eric, Lady Affliction,
Pumpkin Pie, Ms. Tourmaline, S'more, Hacksaw, Wee Mad Beastie, To Be Better For Me, 3 a.m. Thoughts, Crash Override, Iro, Kinky Bear, Sviper No Swiping, Barbie, Navigator Bard, Frost, Sinful and Naughty, Coffee and Chaos, Noir, Mr. Pillsbury, Stitch, Peaches, Mighty Owl, Princess Sassy Pants, Chaos Monster, Jessa Lady, DJ Harlow, Ophelia, Drew, Daddy's Pumpkin, Birchbeard, Lady to Kitten, Mongoose, Sadia, Forest, and It's Valentine.
Hey Kinksters, it's Rara. I've got something super exciting to share with you. September is here, and that means it's birthday time for me and Dara. Now we're celebrating in a big way with our annual Patreon drive, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. Joining our Patreon this month is like giving us the best birthday gift ever. And in return, you'll get access to some amazing perks like exclusive content, access to our Discord server, and even some fun surprises. Your support means the world to us and helps us keep bringing you all the kinky, educational, and entertaining content that you love. So if you've been thinking about joining, now's the perfect time to jump in and celebrate with us. Just head over to patreon.com/pinkkinkpodcast, pick the tier that's right for you, and join our community of awesome kinksters. Let's make this birthday month unforgettable together. Thanks for being part of our journey, and as always, stay kinky.
My turn to sleep. Good night.
Guess what, folks? It's my birthday!
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rara. Happy birthday to you.
Yay! An episode all about me.
Like that's any different than normal?
Yeah, but now I don't have to pretend otherwise.
Yay!
No, you should.
An entire episode of egomaniacal rah-rah.
Okay, but I'm not talking about pain and I'm not talking about blood. So I think I'm being very kind to you.
Okay, you're talking about something that I can actually understand this time?
See?
Very nice, thank you.
I thought I was being very sweet.
Yes. Why did you pick this topic, Rara?
Oh, I'll tell you. Thank you so much for asking.
I know my lines.
And setting me up.
God, are you actually flipping your hair right now?
I am.
You know nobody can see you.
But you can, and look how you get going.
Oh my God.
I'm setting the stage. We're explaining what's happening, and then let them use their Imagination.
Hold on, my mic fell. He's not happy again.
You've had all sorts of problems with your mic today.
I did. He fell over or off or something. He's not doing too good.
All right. Y'all better now?
I hope so.
Okay. So, this is our third year of doing our birthday episodes, and it's getting a little harder now to come up with what to talk about.
Yes.
But when I had done, I was using technology to help because I do like technology.
Not good at it, but you like it.
I was asked, that's not true. I'm good at what I'm good at. This technology is great when it works.
Yes.
And I asked my good friend ChatGPT for ideas for episodes. And one of the things they recommended was technology's role in modern BDSM relationships. And I thought, well, that would be a cool episode to talk about. And then I went, wait a minute. I happen to be a techno freak. I don't necessarily know how it works or why it works. I just accept it does. And I love it. I am the person who lives in a house. There's 2 of us in this house. And I have 4 Alexas.
Yes.
And I use them all the time. I want an Alexa for my car, but it's like over $100 and I can't justify it.
Well, so you might be able to at some point.
Well, I'm hoping that someday when I finally do get a new car, it'll just be standard.
Oh, my dad has that. They just got a new car like maybe last year and it came with Alexa. So he went and got an iPhone.
You don't have to have an iPhone for Alexa.
But it came with some sort of iPhone standard connection and the dash thing has all these iPhones. So he went and got an iPhone. I'm like, I am disappointed as shit with you right now.
I have debated getting an iPhone every now and then just so I could FaceTime with my kids. Because my younger 2, the Gen Zers all got iPhones. But I haven't needed to really sink that low yet. Sorry, I've just offended every iPhone user out there. Sorry. But I thought, you know what? As somebody who loves technology and is forever utilizing technology as much as possible, I could make that my birthday episode.
Yay! Ideas.
Because I do. I take pictures where I sit there and I've got my laptop next to the, what do you call this? Just an extra monitor?
Yeah.
With my 2 different tablets that I have and my phone so that I can multitask at its finest. And I utilize all of this constantly. ChatGPT and I have become very close.
Well, I told you who I've become close with to the point where I was accused of having an affair with it over the summer is Copilot.
Yeah. See, this is the advantage of being poly. I'm not having affairs. I'm just taking on more partners.
Well, I'm monogamish, and I had permission from Daddy to have a affair with this, but he wasn't the one that accused me of it. So I was like, "Hey, look what I did with Copilot again." And the response was, "You are having a fucking love affair with Copilot." I was like, "Yeah."
And I just thought that it would be fascinating to really explore the intersection of BDSM and technology. I mean, let's face it, technology is completely reshaping modern BDSM relationships, whether it's the internet, FetLife, other social media accounts, things like the Obedience app, and I'm going to talk more about that, LoveSense, the remote-controlled vibrators and stuff.
That's kind of like the We something, right?
WeVibe. Yeah, that's who makes the WeVibe.
Gotcha.
Is LoveSense. There is really such a cross-section of how us modern-day kinksters have really incorporated technology into our lives at this point. And I really wanted to highlight the dual nature of technology as both a really amazing tool for creativity and a potential source of some serious challenges, of which I have fun stories of those serious challenges. And my goal is really to just sort of not only educate you on the benefits, but because we believe in RAC here, make you aware of the risks of integrating technology. Why are you laughing at me?
Can't believe you did that.
I thought that was so smart. You have to be nice to me. It's my birthday episode.
I am being nice to you.
You can be mean to me in another episode.
No. That was nice.
Thank you.
That was nice.
That was nice.
That was
Oh,
nice.
Jesus Christ. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. I learned that.
Oh, good. You did it in the correct order.
Yes, I've learned that. See, we are an educational podcast and all sorts of weird
I had
ways.
to teach Rara, the non-Christian person, that you do it in order of importance, not order of birth.
Well, that's true, because Mary would be born before Jesus.
Right.
Yes, okay.
It would have gone Joseph, Mary, Jesus.
But that doesn't even sound right.
It doesn't even sound right.
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph.
Right. That actually sounds like, it just sounds better.
Well, because it's like JMJ, so it flows nice. All right,
well, that's not something I expected to get into right now.
Sorry, I got sidetracked. This is what happens.
The shit that we figure out.
Somebody made a comment about something that happened in a previous episode, and I just wrote back, well, you just never know what we're going to do or say next.
What'd they ask about?
Oh, they heard the typing.
Oh.
And it wasn't my angry typing.
That's the thing. I don't understand how they heard that, because whenever we text that out and do the no context text, the phones are on silent. So what did they hear?
I don't know, unless they're thinking of the angry texting. I don't know.
The angry typing episode?
Yeah, that.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe it was the wrong episode.
Anyway, but for those who don't know about the no context text, that's a mouthful.
No context text.
Yeah. If you become a member of our Patreon, look, I have to mention that because this is our Patreon. What the fuck do we even call
Patreon
this?
push.
Thank you. Patreon push. Push it real good.
Oh, no. Hey, do we get push presents?
Oh.
Because Patreon push and it's our birthday.
Well, I think the money coming in from Patreon is the present.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been really bad about talking about our Patreon drive.
You.
The royal we. So I'm a princess.
Why
remember?
do we always have to
it's
use the royal we?
Anyway, so it is if you're a member of our Patreon, you get to join our Discord server, where Dara and I are very active. And one of our favorite things to do is while we are recording, funny things come up, and we share those funny things in the Discord server with no context.
Actually,
we don't explain where it came from, what happened. They know we're recording, so they know it's no context stuff. But we put that in there to give our patrons a little extra glimpse
into the behind the scenes.
behinds.
Which, speaking of which, I'm actually going to put one in right now.
Okay.
Do we get a push present?
So if you want to join, check it out at patreon.com/pinkkinkpodcast. Or if you go to pinkkinkpodcast.com to our support us page, there's a link right there. You can join for as little as $2 a month, unless you're iPhone. Unless you're Apple. And I have to tell you
this is not us being...
This is not us hating on, being prejudiced against Apple users. This is entirely...
This is Apple being prejudiced against Apple users.
Yeah. Apple raised their prices.
Only Apple.
Only Apple. And so we had to raise our Apple prices.
I am allergic to Apple.
Right. Now, this gets really confusing. This is the joys of modern technology, so it actually is really appropriate to this conversation. If you join us through the Patreon app that you got through the Apple Store,
yes,
there is an additional fee. If you want to avoid the additional fee, you have two options. One, get an Android and do it through the Google Store.
Wow.
Until Google decides to do the same. Or two, go on your laptop and go to patreon.com and do it from there. And then you can avoid this extra fee. But I'm apologizing, but Apple gave us no choice. So anyway.
So blame Apple, greedy Apple.
Right? So this is what happens when you bite into the apple. Bad things happen when you bite into the apple.
Yeah. Snow White.
See, I'm going back to Adam and Eve. You're on Disney characters.
Hey, look, the apple has always had a really bad rep.
Which is unfair because apples are...
Yeah, they're fucking delicious. And now I can't eat them. And I'm sad because you know the whole... Speaking of technology, TikTok, you know the whole, sometimes you just got to eat a whole cucumber Logan kid?
Yes, I know somebody's doing apples now.
Yes! And I can't eat them!
And you don't want to eat the cucumbers because right now there's a huge listeria outbreak with cucumbers.
Yeah, we're not doing cucumbers right now.
So somebody needs to come up with something else.
Not apple, not cucumber. Maybe carrots?
All right.
Sometimes you have to eat a whole carrot.
Okay, we probably should get back to technology because...
That was TikTok.
Well, which is part of technology. I'm going to talk about TikTok.
Okay.
Do you honestly think an entire episode's going to go by where I have not mentioned TikTok? It's not possible.
About 30 seconds worth.
Yeah, it's not possible. We're hoping by the end of this that I've encouraged you to utilize more technology and put in some safety procedures where you can. Some of the stuff I'm going to cover today may be a little bit redundant because we did do an episode on cybersecurity and I'm going to mention it. But I'm going to mention it briefly. If you want more details, go to episode 170. I just know some of you weird people listen out of order. And if you're just joining us now, you might not have heard that episode yet.
Don't do that.
And we're going to get to talk about, I just love this word, so I'm going to try to say it as often as I possibly can. Teledildonics.
You were about to say teledildos, weren't you?
Well, it's I don't know if it's teledildonics or teledildonics. I don't know how to properly say it. So I probably will say it differently every time I use the word.
Sounds way more fun that way.
And then it's going to be
anyway.
so much for fun. So let's go back in time and talk about...
What the fuck was that?
Because I don't have a back in time sound effect. And every time I tell you to put one in, you don't put one in. So I had to put my own in.
Okay. Your birthday gift from me will be to do the timey-wimey Doctor Who sound effect.
Thank you.
Okay. Just got to remember. Dara, put in the sound effect.
So we're going back in time to the pre-internet era. So before your time, Dara.
I was like, what? When is that?
And talk about how BDSM practices worked back in those days. There were underground networks, right? Where our main method of communication was personal ads in alternative magazines, discreet physical meetings, where we really emphasized the need for secrecy because of societal stigma. You had those different, I like how they call it zines, short for magazines.
Yeah.
Apparently magazines is such a long word.
No, wasn't zines like the actual word for online magazines?
Well, since we're talking about pre-internet era, we can't be talking about online.
Oh.
But there were self-publishing ones where enthusiasts shared information through letters and self-published magazines, similar to if you go back and listen to our Munch episode, which is way, way back, and we talk about how Munches started. This is how they were doing it. There was posts put into the self-published magazines and flyers and newsletters. You had your word of mouth communities where local connections, physical spaces such as dungeons and clubs and private gatherings, which were hubs for local BDSM communities, and information was shared through word of mouth, creating a tradition of in-person learning and mentorship. But then we had the internet. And as we all know, the internet is for
porn.
Thank you.
Everybody knows the internet is for porn.
Duh. And the BDSM community adapted to the porn by using it really as a tool for connection. It was a powerful tool for being able to reach out to people across all locations, across all genders, and explore, educate, and connect. It really helped break the isolation that a lot of folks who maybe weren't fortunate enough to live in a community, let's say like ours, which is incredibly active. That was another thing my friend who was visiting from Boston. So we're not talking a podunk town.
I was going to say, that's kind of a cultural hub.
But the kink community there is tiny, she said.
Oh.
And she was just so impressed by the diversity of our kink community and the size of our kink community.
We're pretty big here.
Right? So imagine pre-internet. You were by yourself in some little, maybe even Boston, let alone a town in the Midwest, where you were really isolated in your kinks. And thanks to the internet, all of a sudden you got to connect with other people who had the same interests that you had. And those connections were critical to helping you get past maybe thinking you were weird or wrong or the only one.
Mm-hmm.
And it allowed you to also be anonymous, right? You could be username 472356.
I don't know, you had to add, an exclamation point. Yeah.
And so it became a safe place to explore those kinks and really reduce your risk of exposure. Now, the impact that had on the community is it allowed the community to grow and become much broader and more diverse because individuals felt safe in connecting without revealing their actual identities. And so you just had a bigger spectrum of people. And it obviously increased the accessibility. Now you had a global reach. So those of us who are kinking here in the United States could talk to those who are kinking in Australia or London or South Africa or Korea. And again, that helped expand even more the diversity of not only the BDSM practitioners, but the ideas and how they do things. And from there, we created these online communities and forums, like the Usenet groups. Dara's, it's a good thing I'm about to tell you because Dara's eyes, because remember, her face has subtitles. So the subtitle that I'm reading across her face is, what is Usenet? Am I right?
You forgot the fuck.
I'm trying to be polite.
Why?
Because I don't want people to think that you're rude.
What? They know I'm rude. Oh, are you talking about like if this is the first episode?
Yeah.
Oh, they fucking know. That's fine.
Okay, so her face is going, what the fuck is Usenet?
There it is.
Trying to be polite.
No, you weren't.
Fine. So Usenet is one of the earliest forms of online communities, and it consisted of a decentralized discussion groups, including very BDSM-specific groups, such as alt.sex.bondage.
Alt.sex.bondage. Okay.
Right? Where you could go in and you could talk to people who were into the same things you were into and ask questions and learn from them. Now, obviously, there's risks involved with that. Like the information they're sharing with you could be wrong.
Yeah.
Because there's no way to, especially back then, there was no way to really vet and determine if the information that they're giving you is correct. This really had a cultural impact on kink because you had your global exchange. So now you've got a sense of community among kinksters worldwide. And let me tell you, even in today's day and age, I talk to people from all over the world. I'm very blessed that way, thanks to Pink Kink. We all fucking do things differently.
Oh, yeah.
And even those of us here in the United States, I think like 70% of our listeners are from the United States. We might as well be 50 separate countries here with the way every area is different. And then you have states like California, where if you're in Northern California, you might be doing things different than in Southern California.
In Northern Virginia, things are different than the rest of Virginia.
So it really enables us to learn how things are different. One of my favorite things to do is I'm part of a Discord server of kink educators from, I believe we are almost all American with a few Canadians thrown in for extra spice.
Canadians are spice?
Being kind again.
Okay. I'm not a nice person, clearly.
And I'm not saying I am, I just hide it better.
Yeah, I don't bother. Canadians are spice. That's like, nope.
Being nice.
I like
our Canadian friends.
I do too, but it's just really funny. That's like saying maple syrup is spice.
For some people it is.
Jesus.
There's white cooking. And then there's the non-white cooking, as evidenced by, those are some of my favorite. You've got the couples that get married that are interracial, and they make fun of the black family member will show their white family member's spice cabinet and all 5 spices. That's all they have. One of which is pepper and another one is salt.
The white person shows the black family the spice cabinet, and it's only 5 of them. And then the black family has like an entire pantry of spices, as it should be.
Right. But let's see, I lost where I was going. Oh yeah, so you can learn how to do things differently, and maybe the way that your local community was doing things wasn't working for you. But now you talk to somebody over in Spicy Canada. I'm going to refer to it that way from now on, to Spicy Canada, and got it to snort. I haven't gotten her to
Canada.
snort in a long time.
Oh,
That was
hey,
the best birthday present, the snort.
Yeah, that hurt. You're welcome. Did you hear about Tim Walsh's white guy tacos?
Yes.
Fucking dead.
So it laid the whole groundwork for future online BDSM communities by establishing the norms for how you behave online, how you discuss things. I mean, we do try to behave, most of us.
What?
Consent is a thing.
Yeah, okay.
Then we have the early chat rooms. Now, I've gotten all this from research, so if any of this is wrong, I apologize. Even for me, this was before my time. Meaning I wasn't kinky in these days.
Got you.
By the time I got into kink, we were past all this.
Okay, what year was this?
I don't.
Okay. Because if it was late 90s, I was probably involved.
Well, I'll watch your facial expressions and they will tell me whether or not you did any of this.
Ahem. I am ready.
Okay. So we had the early chat rooms, the IRCs, the Internet Relay Chat, where there was real-time communication. It had live real-time communication going. So it wasn't like you left a message and then when everybody got a chance, they left a message. It was similar to texting.
Yeah, so it
Just in a chat
wasn't
room.
a forum.
And again, I love it. It's pseudonymity. See, I said that. That was pretty good.
Yeah,
huh?
that was good.
Thank you.
You pronounced it correctly.
I know. Where it enabled users to really explore their kinks anonymously, creating a safer environment for experimentation. And of course, though, with the other side of that is, yes, you had a safer environment, but it also allowed the predators to hide behind what appeared to be safe
Yeah.
users. But it's actually where we started to develop etiquette, chat-etiquette, I don't know, where we established the online norms and etiquette for respectful and consensual interaction. And then we got into the pioneering websites, like the original Collar Me, which I know was a biggie.
Mm-hmm.
And the purpose of that one was a dedicated BDSM dating and social networking site. It was like the first one. The features included forums and chat rooms and personal ads. And it really provided a centralized space for connection and education. Then you had like bondage.com, which provided a space for exploring BDSM interest, finding partners, and accessing educational content.
I actually remember that one.
Okay. And how they did the educational content, there were forums and articles and resources for newcomers to learn about BDSM practices. And now let's transition to modern social platforms. Okay?
MySpace?
No, we're beyond MySpace. We've moved past MySpace. And I don't know. I mean, I did not do MySpace. I did AOL, but I was already married and a parent, so I never really needed to get into MySpace.
I did AOL, but I also did LiveJournal. That was pre-MySpace.
Did you have MySpace?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
I
had
did.
MySpace for like a minute, and then Facebook came out.
Right. So the number one modern social media platform for kink is FetLife. Right. It was founded in 2008, and it quickly became the leading social networking site for the BDSM community. I would say almost pretty much the only one. Others
Pretty
have
exclusively,
tried
yeah.
and have failed. It allows for creating profiles, joining groups, and engaging in discussion on BDSM topics. I'm going to try to say this with a straight face because we know the reality. Community guidelines were set up with an emphasis on respect, consent, and confidentiality. That may have been how they were set up. Whether that's actually what's happening, I would imagine you can get a lot of different opinions.
Questionable.
On that one, right? But it really is a supportive environment for the most part for users to explore kinks and build connections. And the downsides, the issues that a lot of people complain about, honestly, to me is a matter of perception. Because I will talk to people who will have complaints about things that I'm like, I don't think they're that big of a deal. But it's absolutely valid that for them it is that big of a deal. But it's constantly growing, FetLife, and constantly evolving. And so for those people who don't like the messages that they say they get, you can change your user settings that only your friends can send you messages, or only friends and followers can send you messages. So you can really set it up so that it's more to your liking.
Interesting quick story on that. So I don't know why, but all of a sudden in the last 2 days, I have gotten 4 messages asking about doing a session. 4 from random people that I have not met. In fact, this last one was not wanting a session. They wanted to become my personal boy, is what they said. I was like, how the fuck did you even find me? Where am I posted that you just saw this? And now you're coming to mine.
Pink Kink?
Possibly. Maybe it was all of the little posts that you did in different rooms.
FetLife has been really amazing for building a global hub. I mean, there are people on there from all over. I have made friends through FetLife from Tasmania. I just like to say that name. It's a fun name. South Africa, from England, from Canada.
Spicy Canada, you have to say it.
Sorry, Spicy Canada, you're right. So those are some of my spiciest friends, by the way. So, it's going to be a new thing. You got to do that, the no context text, Spicy Canada.
Okay, I'll do that right now.
Right. But FetLife has somewhat of a bad rap. So people have gone on to other social media platforms. Reddit's BDSM subreddits.
Jesus.
Wah, wah, wah.
Why do we have to bring that up?
It's part of it. Whenever I'm feeling in the mood for some true masochism, I go on there. It's facilitated an open dialogue on BDSM topics, providing support and advice. We, of course, have our own BDSM subreddits. We have BDSM_Am I the Asshole and BDSM_Education. So those 2 I could recommend because I mod those.
And I assist modding sometimes.
Assist is a strong word.
Well, I text you and I say, hey, do you want to take a look at that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's assisting.
I told somebody the other day, I'm like, you really just need to come to me directly. I go, all that's going to happen is if you go to Dara, she's going to just tell me to take care of it.
Yeah.
So just save the middleman and come directly to me.
Unless it's something with the audio, I am not going to do it.
Right? If it's well moderated, there's respectful discourse and accurate information. That's the risk you don't take, folks. Having perused several of these BDSM subreddits, not ours, but others, accurate information is a very strong word.
Yep.
That I cannot say
And
is accurate.
Not only that, but Rara and I have been banned from giving said accurate information.
Yeah, because we had the audacity to speak out.
Bad us.
Bad us. You've also got Instagram and Twitter. Those are less about, the chat rooms where you can really ask a question, get an answer, as much as the kink influencers share educational content and imagery and experiences. And, you can, of course, message with questions or make comments and all that. We're dealing with some fun censorship challenges on Instagram. Literally almost every single thing that I post is marked as not meeting community guidelines. And I think it's the hashtags, because some of these, there is no fucking way that these don't meet guidelines.
I was going to say, didn't you just learn the correct hashtags for it?
I thought I did, but now it's constantly changing.
Okay.
So I'm trying to, as soon as it comes up as being censored, I remove all the hashtags, and I'm literally winning every appeal. But since I'm always up, I always have at least 5 posts.
Yeah.
That are not meeting community guidelines, and the appeal process is taking forever. As soon as I get one off, another one comes up.
Yeah.
So it's very frustrating, but I keep winning. And I guess it could be worse. They're not getting rid of the account. They're just not recommending it.
Yeah,
So,
no, that could be worse.
Yeah.
You could have been Thanos
Right?
again.
Yes. Well, that's on TikTok.
Right.
Which is its whole thing. You've got Twitter, which allows for a little bit more. I don't find that the censorship is as bad on Twitter. I just don't find that Twitter is as popular. But you can find naked photos on Twitter. They exist, folks. Not of me.
Not me either.
Those do exist on FetLife. And yes, you can see them. Princess Rara. The only thing that gets censored for me on FetLife is blood pictures, and that's not my choice. That's FetLife. All my followers can see absolutely everything friends can see except the blood play pictures. So I'm waiting for Dara to switch hers to say she's following and not a friend.
I barely look. I only have you as a friend now so that I can more easily say, this event, oh, all I have to do is go click on Rara's profile, look at what event she's going to, and then click on that rather than do the search.
But again, the risks involved in all of that is the information you're getting on there correct? As somebody who has had kerfuffles happening in almost every single major platform, it's not always correct. I am working hard. You guys know the EGOT? Well, I am working hard on my own version of EGOT called the TIFF.
The what?
The TIFF.
Okay.
Where I created kerfuffles on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and FetLife. TIFF.
Okay.
I have my TIF.
Kind of like TGIF?
Yeah, I haven't committed kerfuffles yet on Facebook. I thought I was going to. I thought I came so close, and it didn't happen. And I'm really bummed because I was so close to finally having my TIFF.
Okay.
Look, hashtag goals, okay? I have weird things. But, like I've argued with people about whether aftercare is mandatory or not. I've argued with people on this whole dom/sub versus top/bottom. I've had to argue and correct people on that brats are not always subs. Guess what? They can be doms too, which is really funny because on that kerfuffle, I actually had, of the comments that I had on that, I had one person tell me that I'm wrong and absolutely fucking every other person on there tell me I'm right, including doms who said, yeah, I'm a dom and I'm a brat.
Well, some of them took a little while to admit it.
And yeah, I know. And then this idiot who told me I'm wrong. Yeah. I'm like, did you read all the other people who said I'm a dom and I'm a brat? Like, so you're telling...
Just one person admitting that exists kind of invalidates the whole, that doesn't exist.
Right?
Like, even if it's not a shit ton of people, one, at minimum, exists. Therefore, it is a thing.
Right? But I'm that person who makes comments on gender norm posts saying, could we get rid of the genders?
Mm-hmm.
Can we stop referring to doms as he and subs as she? Because not everybody's a he or she to begin with, let alone not all doms are he's and not all subs are she's. Yeah, that was, I thought that was going to get me my TIFF. I really did, but nobody responded.
I'm so sorry that you didn't get your TIFF.
I'm going to keep trying.
Okay.
You know it because I can't help myself.
Yeah, I know.
My advice on that is anything that you read, and now I'm going to say this about our stuff too, just double check. Like, look at others. If you've got like 4 or 5 that are all saying the same thing, then maybe they might be right. But look at who's educating and where they educate and what they do. You've got somebody who's educating that has never been to a dungeon. Maybe you need to just kind of take a step back from what they're telling you. If you've got somebody who is selling their advice and their mentorship, I'm not saying that they're not good. I'm just saying go a little extra into vetting them before you accept them. There are some quality educators out there who do charge for their service because, hey, we have to pay bills.
Yeah. It's a decent moneymaker. Why not use it?
So I'm just asking, just double check. So let's get into some funner stuff. Funner stuff than social media. Virtual reality.
Yes.
If you guys remember, those of you who've been around with us long enough, we covered that Netflix special. I forgot what it's called, where they were...
The Korean one?
They were actually in Japan.
Risque business.
Risque business. And the virtual reality in Japan, when it came to things like kink and sex, was a huge business. Basically, just in case you don't know what VR is and how you can use it with BDSM, VR is a technology that creates immersive simulated environments where users can interact as if physically present, right? So you might have is it goggles? Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Right?
VR goggles.
Goggles and
Glasses.
the special glasses.
Headpieces.
Earbuds, headphones, whatever. You might have hand controllers, even full body suits. And how this can be used for BDSM is you can immerse yourself in a customizable BDSM scene that might be difficult to achieve in real life. And it's going to be more of a safe exploration because maybe you can do electricity where there's not actually electricity happening. You just get that that zap.
It's more like
feeling,
a tingle feeling, not
right?
an actual zappy.
You can do, it's a much more controlled environment for exploring new kinks, dynamics, or roles, like maybe for fire play, right? It'll feel hot, but there's no actual fire involved. I don't know how any of this works because I'm the type of person who don't try to explain to me how it works. Just let me enjoy it. And I would love to find some place local that we could try this and then do a whole episode on this. I don't know that it exists here, but my budget doesn't afford a field trip to Japan.
Someday.
And it makes VR makes things more accessible again, because if you live in an isolated location or there's physical limitations or long distance relationships, you can still utilize this. There is actual software and apps that are designed for this VR kink experience. There's dedicated BDSM VR platforms. There's general VR platforms with BDSM content like VR Chat or Second Life, which offers environments for BDSM scenes using community-generated content. You can customize and control your virtual environment from your dungeon layouts to specific implements, so you can really personalize your experience. And I think this would be really fun, like if you're a long-distance couple. I know a lot of people are like, I've had people ask me, so we're long distance. How do we do a spanking scene? And it's all about, well, the dom has to tell the sub what to do, and then the sub spanks themselves. So think about if they instead could do a VR experience where the dom is able to control the spanking from where they live and the submissive can feel it from where they live. Right? It would be an amazing way to use VR to maintain your dynamic despite physical separation. You could have participation in virtual BDSM scenes within larger VR communities, akin to like virtual dungeon parties. And there's just so many benefits for this. You can simulate the physical presence and feel connected with your partner where you might otherwise not be able to feel connected. You've got an emotional connection that you can have from these experiences as well. And it allows you to, again, there's risk-free experiments because there's no actual touching of each other. And you can program it so that beginners can use the VR to ease into BDSM practices. Now, with everything positive, there's also going to be some negatives. So let's talk about some of the drawbacks and safety concerns with VR. The risks of becoming over-reliant on that virtual experience.
Oh, I can see that happening.
Where you start blurring reality and fantasy, and you have a really difficult time distinguishing between what's real and what's not.
There's like a crap ton of movies with this premise, so yeah.
You've got the psychological impact. Overuse of VR can lead to desensitization. I don't like hard words. Or
just multisyllabic words.
Or decreased interest in actual real-life BDSM interactions because you feel you're getting all you need from VR, so you don't actually have to interact with people. And then which is going to result in a whole physical disconnection. And there's a possible reduction in the depth of connection between partners because there's less physical interaction. So if you're long distance and every interaction is just VR and you never actually get to physically be together.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's a psychological impact. There's, emotional after effects. Intense VR experiences can lead to emotional lows, really put you into a subdrop. And it's going to be much harder to offer aftercare when you're not physically together, right? We talk a lot, if you're really dropping and you're feeling that lows, a lot of times the physical touch of that hug from your partner. And if you're long distance, you can't do that. and trying to figure out, I don't think these VRs are really set up for virtual aftercare. So we might need more of that in there. There's, ready for my favorite word now?
Okay, you going to pronounce it right?
I don't know because I don't know how to pronounce it right.
Novella?
No, teledildonics.
Oh, yeah, that one.
And remote control toys. So teledildonics is exactly what you would guess from the name. These are like dildos, sexual toys that can be controlled remotely. Your love sense, the We Vibe. There's something called the Kiiroo, Kiiroo. And these are remote controlled sex toys that you use apps or internet connections that enhance sexual experiences over distances. I actually had a love sense. And when we get to the part about the technical difficulties and the negatives, I'll tell you what happened with me and my love sense. So love sense is really known for its range of vibrators and even male toys that can be controlled via a smartphone app. WeVibe has wearable vibrators with remote control features. And the Kiiroo provides interactive sex toys that synchronize with digital content like videos or VR and enhances that experience through real-time feedback. So those are just like 3 examples. If there are more, please share with us in the comments on this episode or through social media, because the more we can find out about, the more people can have access to. So what are some of the practical applications of these in your BDSM relationships? Well, long distance domination, remote control. Dominants control the submissive's toys from anywhere in the world, enforcing pleasure or denial. You can use them as part of daily rituals, such as a morning or evening play, to have better connection and a sense of control. You can use them for punishment and rewards, if that's what you're into. And again, negotiated, right? You, for instance, maybe using the love sensor Weeb Vibe on that obnoxious pattern, the pulsing.
No, that's just evil and wrong. It's continuous or nothing.
That's why it's a punishment.
Yuck.
While the reward is the continuous.
Okay, fine. Yeah, that would actually be a good idea, but I'd still be pissed the fuck off.
Or maybe forced orgasms. How many can you have and just keep having them and having them? You can incorporate the technology into your play. I had that with a partner where during one of my dungeon parties that we were both at, I had one of those little remote control bullet vibes. And my partner just set it off. Unfortunately, while I was walking down the stairs, which I don't necessarily recommend because you do kind of tend to do one of those little, oh, when it first goes off. If you don't know what's happening. But it adds a whole multi-sensory experience. And you can use it for sensation play. Let's say you want to do sensory deprivation or overload and add this to it so it just makes it even more. The devices can be used for edging, allowing the dominant to bring the submissive to the brink of orgasm repeatedly without even being there. You can integrate all of this into your power exchange dynamics. You can use them for control and obedience throughout the day, providing a constant reminder of the dynamic. And then, of course, behavior modification. Use them for training purposes, conditioning your submissives through controlled pleasure and denial. Now, let's talk about some ethical considerations and consent. Important things when using any of this, right? Clear communication, negotiating terms. Ensure that everybody understands and agrees on how and when these things will be used, right? You don't want to be in the middle of an important meeting with your boss and your dom sets it off.
No.
Right?
No.
Or maybe you're already struggling with your religion and your kink needs, and you're in the middle of church and it goes off.
Why would you wear it in church?
If your dom tells you to wear it,
you tell the dom, no, it's church.
That's the negotiating terms. That's my point.
God, I am so much of a don't give a fuck kind of person. I would never even consider that was an option.
Right?
Like somebody once told me, this is a situation, like legit, this whole description is a situation I was actually in. He wanted me to go masturbate while I was at work. And I went, are you insane? No.
And I've done it
No.
because I'm able to go into a bathroom that's private and not a bathroom with a stall that somebody else could be in the bathroom with me, but a bathroom that I can lock the door and nobody else is going to be in the bathroom with me.
I have access to those bathrooms too. It was still a hard no.
Right. Well, that's the whole point. You need to set boundaries. It's part of that clear communication is setting those boundaries, limits. When can you not?
And
activate them.
Do not be afraid to set those boundaries.
That is not topping from the bottom, folks. If you set the boundary that it cannot happen when I am at work, that is not topping from the bottom. One of the things I actually talk about in my creating a risk profile class, I use the example of remote control vibrators as figuring out where your boundaries are within that, the risks. And I talk about, for a lot of people, maybe they have hybrid jobs. So you can set the boundary, fine. When I am working from home, I will agree to wear it. But on the days I go into the office, it's not happening.
Yeah, fair enough.
Or if we're going out to the dungeon or a munch, I will wear it. But if we're going out to dinner with my family,
No.
I will not wear it.
No.
Right? That's what you have to decide. And you need safeguards for preventing non-consensual control. Make sure that there's strong passwords and secure connections. The last thing you need is your Dom's buddy roommate to pick up the phone that your Dom accidentally left around and go, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to really fuck with them.
Yeah,
and I'm going to turn this around. Right? So make sure that these are protected and that nobody but you and the Dom can have access to it. Make sure that there's a way for an emergency stop, that the submissive has the ability to turn it off or disconnect the device if needed as part of a safe word or stop protocol. This happened to me. One of the negatives about this is that these things run on Wi-Fi. As we all know, Wi-Fis are not always the most consistent as far as working. And you would think, if the Wi-Fi breaks down, the vibe doesn't work. No, because if the vibe is on when the Wi-Fi breaks down, the vibe stays on. And on and on and on.
Oh, that just gave me
And I had that happen.
Oh, God.
At work.
Oh, God.
And I had to excuse myself to go to the bathroom to take it out to do a hard stop.
Nope.
So have a plan in place because that can happen. And I am by far not the only person I know that has happened to. I know multiple people who start laughing when I tell the story during my class who go, oh yeah, it happened to me.
Oh my God. I don't think I could ever.
Because that's what happens if you lose Wi-Fi connection when it's on, then there's no connection to tell it to stop being on. It just goes.
And there's no way to turn it off unless you take it out.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, if you're lucky and the Wi-Fi goes out when it's not on, you're fine because then it can't come on. But that's not always the case. All right. And then there's also potential psychological effects. Dependency. Be aware of the potential for psychological dependency on these. And how these impact your real life interactions with your partner. There's also wonderful, amazing things like the invention of Zoom and I used to have to do it through Skype. Now we have Zoom. One of the cute memories that I have of my days with Voldemort, I don't have a lot of cute memories, but this is one. I really hated the fact that we never got to not never, but rarely ever got to go to sleep next to each other, right? We were on opposite ends of the country. So what we did one night is we went onto Skype on our laptops and went to bed with Skype still on.
Yeah.
And so you could wake up in the middle of the night and look over and see the other one still sleeping.
Like they're sleeping next.
Right. Mm-hmm. Wake up in the morning and can say good morning to each other, all of that. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can use technology for that. And I love that. The same thing now, with FaceTime and Zoom and other things where you can really connect where you can see facial expressions. It doesn't have to be just we're talking by phone. The ability to text throughout the day. All of that is thanks to modern technology. We've got the ability to make friends. It's interesting. So through TikTok, I have made a lot of friends that I've had the fortune, some of them, to actually finally meet in person. Some I'm going to get to meet in person, and some that I hope someday I get to meet in person. But I mean, there's people that I met through TikTok that turned out to be local, who I'm like, come on, I'm going to meet you at an event and introduce you to my gang. And now, as the running joke is, once you become a part of my gang, you don't get to leave. The only way out is death.
She kidnaps you.
The only way
Why
out
do you think
is
I'm
death,
still here?
right? I mean, tons of people that I've met through FetLife. People I've met through Discord server. Oh my God, Discord server is now one of the big growing areas of the ability to meet other kinksters.
How many Discords are you in now?
I think I'm down to 11.
Down? Oh my God, Rara, I thought your answer was like 9. Seriously, you're double-digit Discords?
Hold on.
No way. She's counting.
I have to count. Hold on.
Hold on, let me count too.
So Dara tells me I should say editor's note first, but I'm not the editor, so I don't know if I can say editor's note. So how about princess note?
Re-recording note?
I fucked up quote. How's that?
I fucked up coat. Yes, I love it.
See? Yeah. Anyway, 21 Discord servers. That's how many I'm currently in. 21 is the number.
Now, back to your regularly scheduled podcast. That's way more than 11.
Okay, in fairness, I only regularly interact in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay, so I'm actually in 9.
Uh-huh.
And I regularly interact in 1, 2. 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Pink Kink is number 1, interact every day, all the time, because I have to.
But there's different ones. I mean, I have ones that are specifically for educators.
Mm-hmm.
I have one that is specifically for local community leaders. I have one that is for the obedience app. And I'm going to talk about them in just a minute because that's part of the online community. I have another patron. I have patrons that I belong to. Actually, I have 2 that are specifically kink educators. So yeah, I have one that I'm in with you because we're both we're staff for this event.
Right.
So
that's one of the ones that I included too. I just don't
right.
That's one of the ones that I'll like look at and read, but I don't necessarily like post unless somebody has a specific question.
Yeah. So there's that. Let's talk for a minute about the Obedience app because that is one of the Discord servers that I'm in. So the Obedience app is this, talk about technology being phenomenal when it comes to kink. This is an app that you and your dominant can join together where you could put in tasks, rewards, punishments. You link your account with your partners. So for example, I have a submissive who goes in and I assign my submissive tasks. And as they complete the task, they check it off. And I don't even have to ask them. I can look and see, oh yes, you have completed the task. We have preset rewards and punishments. So if at the end of the day, they haven't completed whatever it was, their punishment is assigned to them. Or if they have completed, their reward is assigned to them for the pre-negotiated rewards. And it is a really cool thing. And one of the things is we have partnered with Obedience to be an affiliate. So if you use the code PINKKINK when you sign up for their premium service, they have a free service, which obviously is not going to give you the access to all the way cool stuff, just some of it. If you use code PINKKINK, I believe it's 20% off.
Okay, cool.
And you can look for that from our affiliates page at pinkkink.com/affiliates. And it's also in the show notes for the episode. And through that, you also get access to their Discord server. And you can be in the Discord server and talk about real-time chats and event planning and community building, advice,
it's education. It's amazing and wonderful. And so the benefit of all of these kind of things are really you're going to have access to a wealth of knowledge from beginners to advanced BDSM techniques, and there's support systems and global connection. But there's risks too, right? With everything good comes the risks. Privacy concern. Is your data going to be exposed? What about anonymity versus authenticity? You're going to run into some toxic behavior, your online harassment. Moderation and reporting. Do they have a good setup for that? Are your moderators on top of things and in there? What about scams and predatory behavior? You've got your fake profiles and people misrepresenting themselves or their expertise, and financial scams. Unfortunately, we've been very fortunate, let's say, in our patron server, but I've been in another patron server for another podcast group, and they have had a scammer show up as a patron.
How?
It's only $2 a month.
Oh, yeah.
So all of that. You want to definitely make sure that you are being cyber secure and you've put some cybersecurity measures in place. I'm just going to run through these really quickly because, as I said, go to episode 170, where Twincident will go over things in much greater detail. Protect your personal information, your name, right? Come up with some use of a pseudonym or a screen name to protect your real identities. Set up private profiles with limited personal information. Make sure that your passwords are protected. Use two-factor authentication. God. And make sure that you're regularly auditing. Like last night we did our cybersecurity class, and I checked. I hadn't, on my Gmail accounts, of which I have multiple, I hadn't updated my passwords since 2016.
Oops.
So quickly did all of that. Social media, the same thing, right? It's a double-edged sword. It's going to give you increased visibility, and it's a great platform for advocacy. And you're going to have access to influencers and educators. But they may not actually know what the fuck they're talking about. And you run the risk of hostile people who definitely have opinions about us being kinksters. And then there's just the censorship that is thrown our way from these different platforms. There's, safe content sharing. Make sure, we talked about this last night, when you are taking pictures and video, please, dear God, please be aware of what's in the background. You may think you're fine and you've missed something in the background.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to give everything away. As Twin was talking about, that there are people who, for fun, cybersecurity experts who just play challenges where they're given a picture or video and told, can you find out where this person is from?
I love that game.
And there's a guy on TikTok who does that. Like, that's his whole thing. You send him a picture and say, where am I?
He's like a professional Where's Waldo player.
And he will find you. And it's always the stuff in the background. It's always the fucking stuff in the background that gives you away. Right? Make sure you understand the platform policies. What are the guidelines? And have they changed? We laugh. A lot of times on TikTok, for example, we don't say the word kink. We say quink because we're trying to avoid the censorship.
Be aware of ethical considerations. We actually have a whole episode on that, on ethical kink education and responsible content creation. Because, God, there's some real bad eggs out there that you need to be super careful of. And some final thoughts on all of this is I want you to take advantage of technology. Technology is amazing. For crying out loud, if it weren't for technology, you wouldn't have us. But view everything with a healthy dose of skepticism. Make sure that you're vetting anybody who's educating you, whether it's educating you in a platform like ours, which is very obvious and honest about our goal of educating you, or whether you're just chatting with somebody in a Discord server or in a chat room or through DMs. Make sure you're vetting them and that they know what they're talking about. Stay curious but informed about emerging technologies that are going to take BDSM even further because they're coming. I mean,
We talked about VR. That's not necessarily the norm yet. It will be someday as it becomes more accessible, less expensive. More of us are going to have it. And explore. I really encourage you to explore. So one final thing, please make sure that you are following us on all the social media so that you do have access to us. You can find that in the show notes is our link tree, which will give you access to all of our social media. If you ever wonder that somebody you're following, whether they're reputable or not, ask. Come into our social media and ask. Trust me, if I don't know, there is somebody else on the social media platform who will know and will get that information to you. And again, support us and join us on Patreon for exclusive content, for access to our Discord server, and to tell us happy birthday. Because,
Had to throw that one in.
Because it's our birthday month.
It is.
All hail September, the best month of the year. Thanks for hanging out with us today. If you enjoyed what you heard, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a minute of our fun and educational content. New episodes drop every Friday.
If you love what we do and want to show support, there are several ways. Join us on Patreon at patreon.com/pinkkinkpodcast. You can support our affiliates or help spread the word about our kinky podcast to your friends.
Don't forget to rate and review Pink Kink on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Those 5-star reviews go a long way in boosting our podcast through the algorithm and reaching more listeners.
Sign up for our Pink Kink Institute classes. Shop at our Etsy shop, Pink Kink Boutique. Stay connected with us on social media. You'll find all the links on our link tree posted in the show notes.
Your support means the world to us. So until next time, stay pretty, stay safe,
and stay twisted.